Good job. Okay. Morning, everyone. Turn to page 1 in your prayer book and we'll begin. All mother sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and all-knowingness, may they experience happiness and be separated from suffering. I will quickly establish them in the state of the most perfect and precious Buddhahood. Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. sentient beings, limitless as the sky, take refuge in the glorious, kind Lama Vajradhara, the embodiment of the body, speech, mind, qualities, and activities of the Buddhas of the 10 directions and the 3 times, source of the 84,000 categories of the teaching and Lord of the Sanghas. We take refuge in the kind root Lama and lineage Lamas. We take refuge in the deities of the mandalas of the Idams. We take refuge in all the exalted Buddhas. We take refuge in the perfect Dharma. We take refuge in the excellent order of the Sanghas. We take refuge in all the noble Dakas, Dakinis, and Dharma guardians, possessors of the eye of wisdom.
Chuje Pumbo Tondai Keshe Zashe June Babe Kende Tam Jeje Nadai Chunjen Sawa Dai Jubarai Jebe Parande Lama Tamba Nonla Josun Je Sanje Jomden De Namla Jobse Chewo Tamde Chu Namla Jobse Chewo Pabe Kende Namla Jobse Chewo Bawa Kandro Chechon Some Mao Ye Je Je Dan Den Ba Nam La Job Se Je Wo.
Until I attain the heart of enlightenment, I take refuge in all the Buddhas. I take refuge in the Dharma and likewise in the assembly of the Bodhisattvas. As the previous Buddhas embraced the enlightened mind and progressed on the Bodhisattva's path, I too, for the benefit of all sentient beings, give birth to bodhicitta and apply myself to accomplish the stages of the path.
And you da jang ju samba ye so la de ye jo se je je da mo je de je jang ju to ne je ba da jang ju sen be la ba la de da ren she de ba Dejen Lola Pendon de Chanjo Semne Jejeshen Dejen Tene La Bala Rambai Shinda La Barje.
In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings.
And
May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. Refuge of all sentient beings without exception, divine subjugator of terrifying Maras, together with their hosts of demons, the one who understands all realities without exception exactly as they are, transcendent conqueror, together with your disciples, please come here to this place. The ground is sprinkled with scented water and strewn with flowers. It is adorned with Meru, the supreme mountain, the 4 continents, and the sun and moon. As a Buddha field I offer it. May all sentient beings attain the happiness of the Buddha fields. Whatever merit I've gathered through prostrations, offerings, confession, rejoicing, beseeching, and praying, for the sake of the enlightenment of all sentient beings, all this I dedicate.
Keep going.
Okay. Page 11.
Turn to page 11.
Namo. To the Lama of utterly pure appearance and existence, I offer the fundamental ground of appearance and existence. I supplicate you to thoroughly liberate the 3 realms. Please grant your blessings and overturn the depths of samsara. Sublime Master, wish-fulfilling jewel, crown ornament, the inconceivable, indescribable
mind of the victorious ones,
the one endowed with the 5 wisdoms of omniscience, gracious one, the embodiment of love, precious protector of beings, I supplicate you from within the essence of mind. Please grant your blessings from within the innate nature. Please bless me that I may realize the Dharmakaya that is beyond intellect, this primordially unborn, completely pure mind. Transcendent conqueror, the one thus gone, foe destroyer of afflictive emotions, completely perfected Buddha, endowed with logic and virtue, the one gone to bliss, knower of the world, captain, tamer of beings, the unexcelled teacher of gods and men, I respectfully prostrate, completely touching my head to the stainless feet of the unequaled Shakya king. At the time of your birth, leader of 2-legged beings, taking 7 steps on this great earth you proclaimed, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise even then, I prostrate. Possessing a body of complete purity, your sublime form is excellent. An ocean of primordial wisdom, you are like a golden mountain. The one whose renown is evident throughout the 3 worlds, protector of supreme attainment, to you I prostrate. To you who are endowed with the supreme marks, whose face is like an immaculate moon, To you, the one with a complexion like gold, I prostrate. A flawless one such as you among the three levels of existence is most exquisite. Unparalleled, omniscient one, to you I prostrate. Supreme among humans, captain of those to be tamed, the one thus gone who severs the all-binding fetters, who with senses pacified is utterly pacified and skilled in peace. To that one, the one who dwelled at Sravasti, I prostrate. Refuge endowed with great compassion, totally omniscient one who indicates the way, ground bases for oceans of merit and qualities, I prostrate to the one thus gone. The pure cause free from attachments, the virtue that liberates from the lower realms, the altogether supreme ultimate truth, to the pacifying Dharma I prostrate. Having been liberated, they also reveal the path to liberation. Thoroughly respectful of the three higher trainings, they are a field of sublime qualities. To the Sangha I also prostrate. And to page 15.
On page 15.
I prostrate to the youthful Manjusri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appeared during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmatatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible, praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas. With the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointments, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense, I make offerings to the victorious ones. With the finest cloth, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the bodhisattvas, the pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who, passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And then to page 16.
Page 16.
Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the 2 vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings.
Jai 도제 자제를 손통 이len제며도 뒤제 봉정보 설제롱보 다오라제백 샤제절부 절로 그전제 드메워스를 도제 쟁구르드 머리케 쟁구 제도로 담제세과 근전 조제제 야면대고ren제 그전제 오메조제 영제 포도도 등선제 근정오니 랑섬조금 오솜통제배 자벨라메샤라 그전제 광당조저 동행제대나 들이롱무라 조와 강서다 대들 동배 주제 저런 배버섬브런 도보 담진대 예전 넘어야라 예계 당도 당도 제계 중다도 메게남 도와근제 다기제 zambo 탐제계 다게 주된도. Good morning. Good morning. Tinda ngato tereda jetang ngato da nyamlenchi slabgrwa nyamlenchi labnare ta ngato jik namba sanjibe ke nyamlenchi labinare 텐디트네 텔라 다 조우 카르세나 ngato semke 카토 나로네 테네 냠레 제야테 차디요레스
So just to mention first the room, so it's a little bit of an odd arrangement because we're getting ready for the Mani Drupon. So just to explain that normally, there's not this big empty space in the middle here, but we're
maybe for
preparing.
stations.
But we can, it's perfect. It worked out perfectly since we're doing refuge, then we can definitely do some prostrations easily today with the current arrangement. So Drupon Rinpoche said, welcome everyone, and just to begin with, when it comes to practice in general, Buddhist practice in general, what is really the kind of what constitutes this type of practice is mainly, it's really about working with the mind. And the way that we work with the mind is by shifting the focus, turning the mind inward. And this is really where our practice happens, is in turning the mind inward and looking within.
텐디다 베나네가 첨부지 차디오레 나조다 남베키 추세야데 카르세나 칸나운트 데네 치야데 다 리얼리티 내가 첨부지 차디요레 테마토베게 당아서 치기 유를 장장 따네 지금 조버리 치 유를 제 땅베가라 테네 가서 단지 괜추지 세야지 상보 냠바 테네 지금 도바요와 도바메와 다 가와 메가와 거랑 텐디지 진고 constantly 지 카르세고레스 셈게 다 카르세고레 히데 세나리 다 대화 칸다야 직산의 중요함에와 텐디지 차디요로와 디인드티네 당기 공기가 나기리 카나운드로 성도 카나운드로네 파기 제외기 유 남주게 직다 차나게 똑바나 초바게 제디비 유트파 참 샤치 테네 카나운드 지 로비나 테네 나게 다다나가 저 곰랍 그래 냠내 카르치비나레 텐디테네 지 헤와 대와 테네 와다 텐디지 테네 토야 요레스 텐디다 등상하게 두인다고 삼노당비나야다 내가 전부 쉬우래다 가두이나 제당 지율다는 요라 요리티나야 다다 양고락파드게 jikta tingchang technology tutu teikala yang karseda kata nga tun zambuling tsama lela wo tongto ba zambuling ki situation tsama ha koto ba tiniji yube kabla tene nga tun zambuling di na la davi na jik zambuling di na ne ko individualism no tangbi na o ko la deva do samba kia khabore tiga na yita community country tindi no da konso di lungba de beta huge be hideri hasanya this khabodo tindu ko da chi yule tene jinga so deva to ya de khabore tindi indu tene da tindi indu ngazo ta ji number sanji be kinyamne cheya de ji ke chenbo 다 tiga na yeda ngazo telaudo kayu lagyo silutene 제가 통타 바트니 용구요 됐어.
카율라요잖아.
가요라고서는 다 단단한 롭 터반으로 와.
오케이.
뭔가 저지 고고도 랍나 롭 터부요. 타마도 한 가지 제 expecting 요리티는 자원인 롭이 아요 말와. 근데 말이스. 맞고 검로 오잖아. 그 immediately 그 리조르로 통그로 와.
So what's really important in this is that when we turn the mind inward, what we're doing is we're disengaging from our ordinary habit, which is to be outwardly focused. To be outwardly focused and dependent on outer circumstances and outer conditions for our happiness and well-being. And when we turn the mind inward, what we see is that there's this constant sort of tension because the mind is always switching between, oh, this is good, this is bad, I like this, I don't like that, I want this, I don't want that. There's this constantly the mind is breaking into judgment and pulling towards and pushing away. So we're just constantly assaulted by attachment and aversion. And this makes us unhappy. What we find is that, that as long as we're caught up in outer conditions and responding in this way, like, don't like, want, don't want, good, bad, so on and so forth, all of these concepts of attachment and aversion prevent us from finding any real peace. They prevent us from finding any real happiness and well-being. And so what we come to discover is that the way to establish or to develop a real sense of inner peace and well-being is by no longer relying on these expectations that are caught up in outer conditions. We find that inner happiness and well-being through the inner qualities of the mind itself. And this is really especially pertinent in these times when, externally there's so much going on, so many problems in the world, so many devastating things that are happening. And with technology, both the kind of the distractions that we face are increased, and also we see everything that's going on in the world. And so we can know, dinidigi korla shira yaboko maso.
당가 요라 삼 하고 그래스. 냐만도 이나 가서 룽바제 키나나 빼나. 가서 델라이나 템팔라 요라요나 가서 고 추고요 말이었어요.
So we have this ability to know everything, all of the problems that are occurring in the world, which is overwhelming, because in the past we didn't know, if there was some issue going on in Tampa, it would take a while, before we got any word of it, here, for instance, in Wesley Chapel. So there was more sort of these isolated issues that were experienced, individually by different groups of people, different countries, and so forth. And now we have this global, this ability to know what is going on a global scale. And so with all of that information, this also can make it really difficult to not be in a state of anxiety or to have a sense of, inner peace and well-being. And so this is why, especially during these times, these Buddhist practices are especially beneficial. And when we, give ourselves the space and time to turn the mind inward, to do the inner practice, we experience the results of that immediately, really. It's really, there's this term in Tibetan, kayo layo, which is really hard to translate, but it's a nice term in Tibetan, and it's kind of like, there's got to be a turn of phrase that's equal in English, but I don't know, it's not coming to mind right now, but the meaning of it is like, the ka is in a ka, right?
I think in many ways, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like the mouth, like hand to mouth, sort of, but
No,
it doesn't have the same meaning.
I think there are many different meanings, I think. One hand, karsana, ngazo ka kala bantiga lang, tonda drop to grace.
So one meaning is, and it is like hand to mouth is the literal translation, but it's like the moment it's out of your mouth, it's the hands are accomplishing
Happens,
it.
yeah.
It's a happening. So it's like immediate results, essentially.
Or samre another one that is ngazo kala ji sagi aina, chaduya aina, kesi ngazo de hand lang yona, lapena yona. Tene ngazo jik langsang nga cha tung tugu yores. Immediately. Tema to ta ngazo yang cha je tung gudo lamna cha je nyoga ro gudo, tene cha gu ro gudo, tene ro china tene tusung go gudo, tene mayin ba. Kode many different meanings.
So it's also like, it's sort of the hand and the mouth are just right next to each other kind of thing. So like if you have this tea, the moment it's in your hand, very soon after that, it's going to your mouth, right? So it has this meaning of you see the results, right from the get-go. So once we start meditating, there are immediate benefits, there are immediate results that we see.
Yine ngazo di samno tangda zambuling di nala wani china da gomdeli pento che yo mares. Yine yang ta ngazo karse gore momongbo ta tingsan disko ha ku yore yine yang tadong 회주 chigi yo marwa. Ngazo jik problem kare yo bi na ko chilang tanya samno tangdi mato. Even though one moment, 1 second ngazo nangla kare chigi do samno tang yo marwa. Kesi nang roji samno tang bi na tene ko tanda konti yuba na immediately tene ko jam ro yores. Yine chile dana
Jam drogi yore?
Rain jam ro bena cha yana ngazo water boiling do ji na. Tene ta ngazo chile da di na me tsawo tang tene ngazo ta chu boil che chi gogi me do sambanda ores. Kesi zamna ya chu chu chig mare ko me yorwa. Yine ya ka na lo ba te kadlam na ngazo me zi wa na yeres tene chu ko khoyak cha garwa.
So water boiling, didn't
Ta sem la nyora do wa dungin do wa. Dungin yo ate chi yu le zamno tang bi na. Tene ngazo water boiling me tang ne chu ku di yores. Yine ya ta de chu ku go men do ta boiling chi go men do samna ko me tang sha we ka la ko chu chig marwa do ro gro wa. Yine ngazo ka na lo ne. Samno tang bi na tene tada turn off the fire no charo tene ko calm down immediately.
Okay. So there really isn't anything that is more beneficial than meditation. And there's nothing that is more effective in addressing a problem. Because whatever the problem is, usually the problem is there because we're focused outward. And then when we instead disengage from the problem and look inside, then immediately there is some pacification that happens, some pacification of the mind, some calming of the mind, some calming of the issue. It's kind of like water boiling. If water is fiercely boiling because it's on the fire, and we want the water to calm down, but we're like looking at the kind of water and we don't have a direct kind of experience of the heat of the water. And it's still, as long as the fire doesn't get turned off, the water is going to keep boiling. But if we drink that scalding water and it burns our mouth, then we are like, okay, turn off the fire. I thought that was a little strange. Okay, I got it not quite right. Yeah.
So interesting. So if we looking the object, right? So object should never come from the mind. So
the object is never going to cause the mind to calm down.
Right. So it is like you turn on the fire and your water is boiling, but you wish you want water boiling stop, right?
You want the water to stop boiling.
But you can keep going, the fire on, this boiling all, but no stop. So same way we can just sort of we want a peace, happy, but sort of like our create, looking outside, We outside this right, wrong, good, bad. Sometimes the individual problems too, so somebody angry to someone, they're kind of much worse. Oh, why he's doing that? This kind of like looking for more problems, basically.
Like fueling the fire, if you will.
Right. So instead of these problems, we can, look in the mind, so not very difficult, but moment you stop, also looking. So like, so the same way, just you don't want to boiling water, just turn off the fire. So same way. What? No.
Oh, okay.
So this the turn off the water, so the turn off the fire, then water automatically, no boiling. Same way we look inside the mind, to stop thoughts. What that thing do? That got to gom say a kitchen board is thing that gom jibu mares that yamlanchi I think so that yamlan not dong you na de that and got to the jamdo yamlan chegi yona de teneta and the order chikwares.
So, and this is not just meditation, but all of the various forms of practice that we have, reciting mantra. Here, in this case, what we're practicing or learning about together, the refuge. So all of the different methods of practice serve in the same way.
That is why I don't know that Omani Beme Hong do love Grawa, Tenda or Lab Cablatine. That he could cut not logos, Omani Beme Hong, the Tajik, not to Jiren Se Gumiando, Chuna de Temajong Binaya, Jikta, Zewanda Wojik, Rawa, Tendiji, Omani Beme Hong, so Tendiji, Don Degina, Jik Sem Lunga Yezom Koji, Lula Yang Lolo, Samuel Lolo, Tening Ark Omani Beme Hong, Stelea, Koji, Main, Waji Gom Devina. Tene tagi yu to sama tene problem to sama ta ko thong yo ma de ko problem de tik wa thong yo ma de da the problem tik wa thong yo ma
so for instance when we recite the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, that the mantra of Chenrezig, which is the essence of love. This mantra is the essence of love. And so when we recite it like has the effect of pervading the body, speech, and mind with love. The mind becomes, the body becomes relaxed, the mind becomes relaxed. With our speech, we're reciting Om Mani Padme Hum, and the mind is turned inward. We're sort of, our attention is gathered within. And then the outer problems, our external problems, no longer control us. They no longer have control over us. So it's not that we're not seeing them necessarily, but we're not under their power. So now, so then when it comes to the topic, of what we're addressing, right now in the 3-year program, the practice of refuge. So last week, Drupon Rinpoche introduced the sadhana. We went through the sadhana together. We recited the sadhana, and he sort of talked a little bit about how to practice the sadhana. And today, he's going to teach some about, about refuge in general. So we have these handouts. Perhaps you all have one. Maybe we can put it on the screen, those who are screen sharing. So me redela lo yang na gareche. Ngarang. Okay. So the 4 uncommon or inner preliminaries consist of going for refuge, Vajrasattva, Mandala, and Guru Yoga. Each serves a distinct purpose in one's development on the path.
Okay, comments no uncommon ro tin ta khanda khari nang so ta di chi jamru se ya ta nga chon ro simbares tin ta chi jamru he ka lo do number here wa tin ta tele kharsa nga so ta chi ngon ro senare lo do number he ro simbares ta di thana de ta uncommon lando nang ngon ro hetres.
So here we refer to the uncommon or the inner preliminary. So this is to distinguish from the common or the outer preliminaries, which we have already gone through. So the common preliminaries are the reflections on the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. So we spent some time reflecting on those, talking on, speaking about those, teaching on the 4 thoughts. And so now we enter into the section of the uncommon or the inner preliminaries. And so these here, to continue, going for refuge is for becoming a proper vessel. The meditation and recitation of Vajrasattva is for purifying negativities and obscurations. Mandala is for gathering the 2 accumulations. Guru Yoga is for connecting with the blessings. When it comes to going for refuge, there's the refuge of taking the vows and the refuge that is practiced.
다 담보 될랑 가서 점로 될 노토롱바 손래다 노토롱바데 가레 세미나 다 다난 가서디 노토 마롱야다 노토롱바 시용거와 다 노토롱바데 마롱바데 가르쳐디 요레 슬라비나 다 단기 공투가 나기래 가서지 조 뇽모바 끄네 랑데 고 치기 유일 짱짱 다 댕게지 이나 되는 가서다 노트 롱구가 말이스. 제가 나이게 노트 마롱야다 가르쳐요 라위나. 테네직 랑제번 짐바 조송네. 테네 현라야 지 제와메와 닝제메와 오다직 랑메인번로 드시 요비이나야 그 그 현 파르죠들라 물론 누히메와들라 되네 그 노메와 창조요레스 유 어디니 땅아 저들라 잠도시 유텔라 되네 노도 롱바치월라 그 당보 가르고 거잖아 땅아 저 재와지고 거래 참바 닝게들이 대양 되네 지 가르서 땅아 저
So first, as it says, going for refuge is for becoming a proper vessel. So what does that mean to be a proper vessel? So if we think of like what is a proper vessel, what is not a proper vessel? So what is not a proper vessel is when the afflictive emotions are running rampant, when they are the ones in charge, and one is constantly looking to outer objects. So just like constantly focused outward, looking at outer objects, and swept up in the mind of afflictive emotions. And mainly this is fueled then by the mind of self-grasping, the self-cherishing attitude, which is kind of devoid of concern and love for others, devoid of compassion. So this would constitute an improper vessel. And then when to become a proper vessel through refuge, what is it that is needed to become a proper vessel? Mainly it's love. So as we develop love, as we develop compassion, kindness, this is what causes us to become a proper vessel.
어다 내가 디인디네 땅아서 대양한테네 다 레로 요마레 가르세나지 나졸라 당기 공트히드노가 공트히바나예 지다 나조 제네 송데 되네 지 차단 걸로들라 나조 확차 효첨부 효지 샤샤 요르와 디인디네 지 랑조라 차바 현조라 나와 송데네 지그 automatically 직다 그 효도고 가리나지 나서야 돼요. 랩대원도 직로와 근데 현라양 직당대야도 직드네 용구요레스 디인디다 디가 좀 믹스에게 되네 직 참바고미야 닝제고미야 창조선고미야 되네 직유 투네 되네 장고야 직레스 대장비나 되네 니마 직라 되네 가서 직 캬페 유유위나야 텔레야 테잠게 지 캬페 거 원토 만도당 디네 지 당웨키 유지 유비나야 되네 테잠제게 고지 당와 메와 오다 디니지 고차 토구요레스
This is not easy. Because we have really deep habits of self-importance that are ingrained very deeply from the moment we are born. These are very strong propensities, and meaning that we are attached to ourself, we're sort of self-preoccupied, and because there's this preoccupation or attachment to the self, then there is aversion or fear when it comes to others. We feel threatened by others. And so this sense of self, it becomes hardened by this, kind of opposing duality of concepts of self and others. So we're attached to ourselves, we're averse to others, and the habit of self-grasping is automatic because of these imprints. The habits of love, compassion, and bodhicitta are not automatic, and so they really have to be actively cultivated. We have to train in them. And so also we have to develop awareness of the way that the self-cherishing mind operates, so that even though there's attachment to objects that arise, we don't we're not at the mercy of that attachment. We don't necessarily fall under the power of that attachment. Even though there are objects of aversion that we have, we are not at the mercy. We don't follow after or kind of reify that aversion. So we have the phenomena of attachment and aversion, but it doesn't go as deep.
다 뒤에다 냠랭치 그래스. 다 냠랭 맞이나 단다 공투와 나기래 고지 착비 유테 매와당 당외 유매와 착그 말이 다 냠랭치 거래. 다 냠랭치야 돼 간디기래 섬노 땅베이나 되네 다지 머제기 지고래 너 라바잠 마인바 와 양나 배나 상지 좀 된데 게 텐데 장바당 인지 곰 송고레스 송샤바잠 마인바 다 갈세나 탕보 상지에 내가 제효 갈송 요르세나 즉 상지에 송샤와 티 갈세나 되네 즉 탕도 말랑와 치네 상지 송샤죠 텔라 되는 되게 두가 되게 면도와 스타고래 송로와 어떤 텐나게 되네 다 나저지 밸류 카르도 팬도 카르도 따고래스와 빼나 가르치고서나 콘로 랑데베네 콜라 카르도 따고래스 치고래스 와 테네직 땅아도 참내 내가 참내 가서 참바지에 거래 닌제지에 거래 더자말이 땅가 히트니 용도와 즉 코레지와 심지 현바 통한다게 다뭐 항상 야보텐데 요래와 코레지 요래 제가 나기게 따뜻한 못 당고 그래. 뭔가 힐 responsibility 빼요라와. 오늘 지고 좀 향게 통달의 responsibility 휴요라와. 다 근데 요게 내가라. 때 따고 그러랑 간데스도. 이너티 참바 요와 닝제 요와. 지 for the responsibility 요게 내가라. 근데 지 선바 대오 지고 호보 연구요래서 쪼바지 연구요래서 텐디트네 다 정가서 해당랑데베네가 차도랑데베네가 로와 텐디도 이제 딱 간다 현라지 디스 마가 요베 네캅 대가나 나도 딱이요 말 하고요 말와 계시 따위나 지요 말이스 되오요 말 루야 되오요 말이 세마 되오요 말이스 다 팅가서 따고 그래서 초념len 지지도 따고 텔라고도 가서디
So this is why we have to practice. We're never going to be free of objects that incite attachment and objects that incite aversion. So we have to work with our mind. We have to practice with the conditions. And so the Buddha teaches the qualities and benefits of developing positive mind states, building positive mind states such as love and compassion. But the Buddha also says, don't just take my word for it. Don't just take it at face value and accept what I say because I say so. But look and see whether there's value. Look and see whether what I say is true. Is there benefit? Investigate. Is there not benefit? Investigate and decide for yourself. And so that means that we have to really be mindful in what our inner experience is. So when, for instance, we're angry and we investigate how this affects us, how this affects our body and mind, we can very easily see the fault of anger. Likewise, when we have love and compassion in our mind stream, and then we investigate, then we can really feel or see directly the benefit of these positive mind states. And it takes tremendous courage. Sometimes we really have to incite courage actively. And there are really great examples of people in the world who are incredibly courageous when it comes to working for the benefit of others, working for the benefit of sentient beings. Really extraordinary examples. And even in our own lives, we can think, for instance, we see how, there are responsibilities that we have, people that we have to look after, that we have to care for. There's sort of a integrity in showing up for the responsibilities that we have in life. And when we look at how it feels when we show up with integrity in those responsibilities, then we find that when we are showing up for those responsibilities in a way that has integrity, then we find that it creates a sense of well-being, peace, happiness, that there's real joy that comes from it. On the other hand, when we're not considering the others who rely upon us, and instead we're focused on ourselves, and when we're focused on ourselves, we have negative emotions that arise like anger and jealousy and so forth. And then when we look at how that really affects us inwardly at the mind and body, we can very clearly see that it doesn't feel good. It isn't something that is beneficial or healthy, and this is easy to see if we just look. But he said, sorry, there was one distinction that when we're not looking, we don't know, we don't see, we don't understand. But when we look, then we actually can see.
Mindfulness kariyore labina homba jagiyona kamba ji ya jagrwa tessa maja tindi tutsu duration tela konso mindfulness yore labudwa.
So mindfulness is something that can be very, very deeply developed, like it can become very refined. So when they talk about, for instance, a mindfulness that is possessed by the Buddha, the mindfulness of the Buddha is so powerful that even in the moment of his foot leaving the ground and traveling through space and touching the ground again, that for that duration and for that subtlety of action, he is always completely aware. There's not even a moment that mindfulness is not present.
So we sometimes look at the poem. You know how long. But that's not bad. But sometimes, we're talking other chatter. So we don't know how many times go past, So that day in the Natsoki Jula, Tangone China, Ketchemoroa, mindfulness. Re Natson Jitendi knowledge, yore, Jitendi knowledge, ko Jitendela ko create Chadank, ko create Chicago, Chadi yore. Tindu Kaduina Natsu Nyombo Chigioroa. Nyomba mache tapio marwa. Yina yang that he could keep going road on Mandoti, that Tembata he redoa. Temba he yona, Konyom Bachevatella, Nyombango non rogre, Nyotsu Chigiore, Tegana Yiketati, Ran more here.
So, it is a given that we're going to have difficulties and hardships. It is a given that we're going to have negative mind states and emotions that are uncomfortable, or negative emotions. But whether we just continue with the habits of how those emotions play out, whether they keep going, or whether we transform them, or and stop them from continuing as they go, really depends on mindfulness. So if we're aware or not, it is the awareness that enables us to work on our mind. If we're not aware, if we're not mindful, then there's no way to change the patterns.
Ta tialo, ta tigana yita, ngazo tigana yita, semchen le tsewas, ta yunu turuma. Tigana yiketa, ti tola teba gogoda.
Depa. So the becoming a proper vessel requires cultivating love for sentient beings, and together with this, and very closely related, which is practice and refuge, is faith.
다 대바대지에서 들어가서 랜덤리 로와 배나 blind faith 너 말에 당어서 대바지스기 유직 고고요로와.
So, and this is not just a blind faith, but our faith is really based on understanding and directed toward, a proper object of faith.
다 뜻이 long 살때는 뭐.
Okay, so we'll just keep reading. So then there are here the 5 essential aspects for going for refuge in this category of going for refuge.
When they become going to refuge. Okay.
When it comes to going for refuge, there's the refuge of taking the vows and the refuge that is practiced.
다 디가서디 다 마치지 점도 넘바 휴요리 행기요리 다 디나라 칼레칼레 트긴 스타나 티요 마레스 점도 넘바 휴야데 얘네야 점도 냠냐 치발라 인지 미니 점도 넘바 고고요레스 넘바 고고요레스.
So the vows, when it says taking the vows and then the refuge that is practiced, so many of you have taken the refuge vows. So there's the vows of refuge, and then there is the actual practice of refuge. So we'll get into a little bit more about the vows later on. This is really kind of concerning the practice of refuge.
디가 나 이렇게 무슨 냠냐 칭행이나 근데 refuge 고고요레스.
And if you practice, then it's necessary to have the vows of refuge.
디가 나 이따 디기 디테일로 양초지 트긴 스타나 not complete child 말이야.
So this isn't complete. He's going to get more into the details of taking the vow, or the vows of refuge too.
된다 맨 practice로 해.
So then for the main practice, there are 5 essential aspects of going for refuge. These are 1, the essence, 2, semantic analysis, 3, distinctions regarding levels of refuge, 4, the actual practice, and 5, the benefits. So first we have the essence. There's the essence with regard to the mind itself, the mind of refuge, and the essence with regard to the object of refuge. The essence of the mind that seeks refuge is characterized by faith and confident reliance. This faith is not just intellectual, but a heartfelt trust born from understanding and conviction. Then with the object of refuge, when examining the object of refuge, the essence of the 3 jewels ultimately points to the single refuge of the Buddha. Specifically, this refers to the 4th Buddha of our current Kalpa, Buddha Shakyamuni, who appeared in our world during this fortunate eon in which it is said 1,000 Buddhas in total will appear. Keep going. The Buddha's enlightened qualities are that he is completely purified of all obscurations. Both afflictive emotions and cognitive obscurations have been thoroughly eliminated, and he has perfected all the enlightened attributes. All positive qualities have been developed to their fullest potential.
어떻게 다 되래. 당에 단계 공투나게 당어서 지 들어가시라 잠로나 되게 용마라와. 뒤에다 지금 상제서야 돼. 다제 지나 요 드리요사래. 되네. 맞죠. 뇽몽발레 상 시제기 연단 상마 제대와. 틴리제라 되네. 다 수리 슬라비나 상제 협체 터바레스.
So this is important. It's important to understand what our object of refuge is. We're not just kind of for the heck of it going for refuge without a real understanding of the object of refuge that we're seeking refuge in. So the word actually Buddha, which in Tibetan is Sanje, so being completely purified of all obscurations is what is meant in the first syllable of the word Sanje, which is literally is purified. So the Buddha is fully purified all obscurations. A completely awakened being is purified of all obscurations. And then the second syllable, J, means developed, or maybe sometimes we say increasing or flourishing, but he's fully developed all of the perfected or the enlightened qualities.
어때 뒤인도 당기 공투가 나이래다 상제 대양 당보 무인바당 지 대가 나이게 무인바당 대가 나이게 상제대 지 ordinary 맞죠 나이인바 대가 나이게 되네 지다 코르반델라 되네 다 가르쳐버 상제되고 first 가르쳐야요스나 코르반델라 강해요와 말에 코르반델라 강해요와 로와 오 I first 들라 당보라 보서와 당보 대가르세나 상제 메인바 되네 대가 나이게 가죠 나이인바 대가 나이게 되네 코르반델라 다 상제게 가통고 요래라나 다 당보 거랑 지 knowledge koran yihe kari yorsena tene korba da dungin ba 통구 요래스 강행인 봐.
So the Buddha, so when we're talking about the historical Buddha, Buddha Shakyamuni, there are different ways of kind of perceiving this, but one is that, that the Buddha started out as an ordinary person, just like us. He was an ordinary being, and he ended up, progressing on the path to awakening, purifying all the obscurations, and the first step in doing so was recognizing that samsara is the nature of suffering. So through first understanding suffering as suffering, this became the first step for him to take this became his first step in then progressing on the path to awakening.
대가나 얘기다 되네 농아들 탄도 로요와 다 대가나 얘기다 코랑게 ngos langlan tar chi de ta nyamle chi yores kawa chi yores tene ji ne tamandela ta dungye ke ji le chama tarwa wa nyangelen de ba la do tene nyangelen de ba thoba oda tene ke khansa ji cha de yores.
So he then, seeing the nature of suffering, he gave rise to a deep sense of renunciation and a longing to be free, a longing to become free from suffering. And then it was that longing to be free of suffering that inspired or fueled his actual path, the actions or activities that he engaged in, or the actions that he then took to become free, and at the end, or the final result was that he did in fact become completely free from suffering and attained nirvana.
다 단기 공투가 나있다. 근데 뭐 퀄리티만 보여. 퀄리티 상지 퀄리티데 제가 또 장장거나 장마서 버리. 다 대가 나기 개체효다 단다 정도와. 또 상지 준비된데라 그 지바명아와. 제기요 말이에요. 대가 나기게 그 전시에 대한 공반 등조 수들라. 되네 전시요래스.
So then it says, the next section is that he attained inconceivable qualities, including, and then it lists some of these lists of qualities. But actually, the qualities of the Buddha are they're innumerable. There are so many countless inconceivable qualities possessed by the Buddha. It would be impossible to enumerate all of them. But within all of these qualities, some kind of distinct qualities are that he has the quality of unforgetfulness and constant mindful awareness. So then there are these lists of different qualities. So he possesses the 5 eyes, the 6 extrasensory perceptions, the 10 understandings, the 10 powers, the 4 kinds of fearlessness, the 4 perfect knowledges, the 18 unshared attributes, and so forth. There are countless other inconceivable qualities. And likewise, the essence is the Buddha's compassion. So the Buddha possesses immense non-referential and impartial compassion that spreads throughout all that appears and exists. This compassion continuously looks upon all sentient beings with care. It is spontaneous and all-pervasive. It is like the rays of the sun that shine everywhere, independent of concepts or intentions to shine on one part of the earth or another. When we go for refuge, this awakened mind of the Buddha, complete in wisdom, compassion, and skillful means, constitutes the essence of our refuge.
다 상제게 지 갈사고다 오시에세나리 상제게 가리오레 휴위나 되네 제다완 침비키 이히 제닌 침비키 이히 송도와 니나 티도에 티어서 말와
Chiyo marawa, but jela chi chogurwa. So the Buddha, and one thing we should probably add is that the Buddha, the qualities, essentially all of these qualities or attributes of the Buddha can be subsumed into two. That is the omniscient wisdom that perceives things in their absolute nature as they are, and the omniscient wisdom that clearly perceives things as they appear in their multiplicity.
어디가 나 얘기다 디 나나다 누디 유지로와 대인데 이나야다 렌데 되네 차기 차와데 희그레 송도와
And so what is meant within this is that he can see with perfect vision the detailed intricacy of karmic interdependence.
어다 대가 나 얘기 되네 송도와 가서 인계세야지 그러와 참바세야 돼 누파 쌈지메 차버데스 다 인제 기누파다 참베 기누파다 nga 기누파도 손도위나 되네 맞아 치 지토고 말해 손래
So it is important to understand that the power of love, the power of compassion is extraordinary. That it is, there are the three things that are said cannot be measured. That is the power of love, the power of compassion, and the power of mantra.
데니테 대송거다 계시 지 더솔라 단다 공도 송바도 지 소기 요비나 데 남간데야 노노 지네 지나 형거 말이스
It is said that these things, if we were to try to, or if these three, if we were to try to measure them, then even if we were to like say give them a container, and if we were to say that the sky or space were the container, they wouldn't even be able to fit in space. They're more vast in their power.
디 누바데 지 나초 단다 지 ordinary 게 가서 소요 원다고 근데 차기요 말이스
Karela?
베나가토다 지 쳔보요레 자 쳔보레 노라위나 나초 소로지 요원다고 근데 기지 나초 말이스 we cannot measurement or beyond measurement.
But of course, they
Beyond
don't
thought.
have a form. They are formless, but if we were to give them a form, their form would be immense beyond measure, immense beyond scope. So they are immeasurable.
대송구도와 가스나 데레다 나초 나당 되네 지다 가서그 참바다 닝기 게 더솔라 칸디스 로그레 칸디스 찹거리라비나 되네 토파메 바레 zonre 베나가서다 잘라라오이나 칸반도서 토데그로 칠론로 토구마로 소 오다 텐다오
And
마레스 토구 마레스
likewise, they are unimpeded. So both mantra and love and compassion, they are unimpeded in their power. So there's no limits. There's nothing that can block them.
얘나 베나 차샤 대송도 디 누판도지 찹싱도 치비나야 누파텔라 되네 지 메교멘도 요 마레스 지 누파 대가 파도 찹그레 대가 차 토구 마레스 용 상제기다 지 세용베 까블라 되네 지 티 누파텔라 되네 세면도 송도와
And the power, their power is beyond scope. It cannot be measured. Even, the Buddha with his omniscient wisdom has said that the power, the scope, or the limit of and power of these qualities is measureless, beyond measure.
Wada ti yang nga zo samotang go ta sanje tel power yo wan do yina yang nga zo ki sem ki ju ki nu pa ji hedewari bi ki nu pa se ya juro wa nu pa de nga zo la yo res.
But what we have to do is we have to relate like the qualities and power of the Buddha, which essentially is the awakened mind, to our own mind, because the truth of the matter is that our Buddha nature, the essence of our stream of being, our true nature possesses all of these qualities as well. So then, continuing with the text, so the second category then is semantic analysis. So this is just a kind of investigation or a literal kind of the literal meaning of the words, or what the words of going for refuge is referring to. So in Tibetan, the term is kyabdro, which is pronounced kyabdro. Kyab literally means protection or refuge, and dro means to go. Thus, the term directly translates as going to protection or going for refuge. The nature of this protection, as is stated in the Net of Illusion, the supreme refuge, worthy of refuge, he who dispels all fears. There's the temporary protection and ultimate protection. So temporary protection is that during this lifetime, one receives protection from numerous obstacles and dangers, such as natural disasters, calamities caused by the four elements of water, fire, wind, and earth, weather extremes, lightning, hail, frost, blizzards, droughts, and storms, external threats, wild and dangerous animals, thieves, criminals, and harmful spirits, health crises, sickness, epidemics, and other bodily afflictions, spiritual obstacles, interferences from ghosts, harmful spirits, and negative influences. Keep going. Mm-hmm. And then ultimate protection. In the long term, refuge provides protection from fear from the lower realm rebirths, freedom from the fear of rebirth in hell, the realms of hell, hungry ghosts or animal realms, samsaric suffering, liberation from suffering throughout all 6 realms of cyclic existence, and freedom from fear of falling into the spiritual extremes. So protection from falling into either the extreme of samsaric existence or the extreme of self-satisfied peace. And then the levels of refuge. Mm-hmm. Then we have the levels of refuge. So as the great Yogi Jetsun Milarepa taught, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, these 3 are the outer refuge. Lama, Yidam, and Dakini, these 3 are the inner refuge. Channels, winds, and drops, these 3 are the secret refuge. The outer refuge is the 3 jewels. And so the Buddha is the teacher, the fully awakened one who shows the path to liberation through perfect wisdom and compassion. The Dharma is the path, the teachings and practices that lead to enlightenment, including both the scriptural teachings and the realization they produce. The Sangha, the spiritual community, the companions on the path, including both the ordinary community of practitioners and the noble Sangha of those who have achieved direct realization of emptiness and are already on the Bodhisattva bhumis.
Okay. Da tere, da nga zo di, da refugee sundu karsena nga zo tanda di, nga zo da distinguishing karsena sangje barawa. Nga zo sangje yo mares. Ti ta ti maje du karsana ta nga so tengu yore sangje ro sangje la tengu yore sangje ke ta zo tensa de ta sangje la nga so thaba je ko yore tene yina tensa de sangje song sha bi chu de la tengu yore ta chu ti ya tembar chi bala ti je sun ju ba te nyamlen chingye de gendu tele tengu yore es tadi ko first step rawo chadi yore.
So first of all, so we have to distinguish when it comes to the three jewels. So the Buddha is fully awakened. He has attained Buddhahood. He has attained enlightenment, is fully purified and fully developed all of the enlightened qualities. And we have not. And so therefore, we have to rely on the Buddha. We rely on the Buddha as the example, and we rely on the Buddha with faith. Then that which we have to follow is the path of Dharma, which is the Dharma, which is the path that the Buddha himself followed and then laid out as the way to awaken like he did. So this is the Dharma that is taught, the teachings taught by the Buddha. And we have to likewise rely on companions, friends who are also traversing the path, those who have entered into the path of the Buddha's teachings, who are the Sangha.
어다 디인도 다 텔레카르고스나 가서 다 아고이키네 안틀 마차파드 카르스나 다 상제 탱고도와 상제 탱 베네테종라다 드로나 상제 탱 데나 상제 탱 사나 상제 탱스 대가나 이게 다 가서 다 점도 그 돈바 휴샤베 강라 점도 그다 랍자도 나나 타종버레 되네 지 khala salgu na tene
Tambo droe kabla. Tambo droe la yoroa droe kabla de koragya.
Ore otere.
Tene dena de gare gola. Tene sawa. Chupabu. Tene. Okay. So until we ourselves awaken, we have to always hold the Buddha in our heart, always hold the Buddha in our mind, always remember the Buddha. So it is said that at all times to remember the Buddha, whether walking, sitting, eating. So for instance, when you take the vows of refuge, or actually the three jewels, right? Like to remember the three jewels at all times. So when we take the vows of refuge, there are the trainings, the supplementary kind of practices or trainings, which is that when we are walking, we can visualize that we're circumambulating the Buddha. When we're sitting, we can visualize the Buddha abiding above our crown. When we're eating, we make an offering. We visualize that our process of eating is like an offering offered, a Gana Chakra offered to the Buddha.
어다 틴리 인디 다 디기 펜도 카리오리소나 티니지 베나차 샤위나 티니 셈기 주라 티니 틴리제 그 상지 네디가 네토베이나 티니 당가서지 타마야 안가서지 랑람 ordinary person로 통반다고다 대가 나 얘기지 다야 마가와로지 통베이나야 티니 야보지 콤데위나 티니 칼세나고 지금 마가와텔라고 그 산지리 잠만다고 되네 되니 차기요레 스티나 산지리 잠다고 될라 나와 제고 말와
야 공다야 보고마서
benanga to yulo 유 당가 저 꼬라노로 스티니로 지 오가 homba 잡나 티 유로와 유로 지 통비나 유텔라 베나 다 가두이나 지 본초 좀 땡기요나 되네 고지 가서가 나와
ordinary may
샤르와 다 된다고 근데 다다 송세야 전도 토세야 된 럽고요레스
So one of the benefits of always holding the three jewels in our mind in this way is that it has this quality of purifying our perception and transforming our experience, so that when we're always remembering the three jewels, then it becomes something that causes all of the things that appear to us, like all of the objects, to become kind of pure in nature. We no longer see them as ordinary. So this is like what we practice in the context of secret mantra, that all phenomena is the pure appearance of enlightened phenomena is essentially the body of the Buddha, and that all sound is pure sound, it's mantra, and all that arises in the mind is the pure phenomena of meditative absorption. So in this way, by constantly holding this sort of practice of mindfulness and recollecting the three jewels, this purifies like our perception on all levels.
다 뒤슈글은 가서 가리 송위나 되네. 다 가서 냠내 치네 야보 야 차옹베 갑라. 되네 가서 다 잡는 상진 약책이 송네 되네 다 제가서 추 냠내 치 겐둘로 톡때 되네 지음베 갑라 랑 그때서 되네 다직 냠탕 똑바 되네 지음베 갑라 되네 다잡 타메게 타툭 잠들어서 되라 되네 상제 차디요레스.
So when our practice becomes really advanced, then we realize that the single refuge is the sole refuge of the Buddha. So we have the three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The path and the companions, the Dharma and the Sangha, are temporarily necessary until we realize the true meaning of the ultimate nature. And at that time, that's the true meaning of the Buddha. And at that point, then the sole refuge becomes the single refuge of the Buddha. And then this is also connected with the inner refuge. We have the inner refuge and the secret refuge. So the inner refuge, the three roots, are the refuge of the Lama, Yidam, and Dakini. The Lama is the root of blessings, the spiritual teacher who embodies the Buddha's enlightened activity and transmits the lineage blessings. The Yidam, the root of accomplishment, the meditational deity who represents the Buddha's enlightened qualities and serves as a focus for transformation. The Dakini, the root of activity, the enlightened feminine principle that represents wisdom, energy, and the dynamic aspect of awakening.
Okay.
And
다
then-
테리. 다 뒤인도 대송 다 단기 잡는 상진 약체 인수야 대당. 되네. 다들 뭐지가 차비거래. 라마. 다 라마도 자치 뭐 쉬우래. 라마도 대송도와 단대 내갑라 가디 상제 군에 하변공 송도 직다 다나 ordinary 게 라마들라 상지리 원에 가디 치요래. 좀생 가르세나 상지 다 가서 총요디나 상지공우 제요 말와. 이네 닫고 메시지와 중간디 대가 나이 유바 중간데 상진네 다바를 투댕에데 고다 가르세고래 오늘 라마 세나리 라마테 차디요레스 라마테리 대가 나이 게다 단기 공휴가 나이 짭 타토 게티니 잡네 라마리 송로 잡는 상진 약식 뒤니 다 잡는 상진 약식이야 드니 또 오메가블라 상지 지불을 거야 요 말에 상지기 샘당 대가 나이다 나 라마세야 라메기 샘당 되네 랑기 샘 되네 랑기 샘데 되네 그 니스미바 디 되네 모든 요르토부요레스 디디 다 가서 상지야 요레 상지 당부 오르네리 상지 오르네리가 권한 냠내치네 상지에 바라와 대나기게 가서 당부 오르네리 냠내치나 되네 상지야 요레 다 디디 고 권한이 직바로 상지기 세미나레 라메기 세미나레 랑기 세미나레 되니 샘착 직바착 요레 다 근데 점노다 타마디 다 라마데야 마리 상제데야 되네 잡레 대가 나기 라마데야 잡레 대가 나기 랑기 샘타 잡그 착요레스.
So this is important because, so as is said, that the Buddha is ultimately the only object of refuge. And on a relative level, it is said that the Lama is even more precious than the Buddha, or more kind than the Buddha, because the Lama, who we refer to as like the ordinary, the one who appears in ordinary form, like an ordinary person, the Lama, is even kinder to us than the Buddha, because we can't meet the Buddha in person right now. But we have spiritual teachers, and these spiritual teachers are those who transmit the stream of blessings, the lineage to us. Since the time of the Buddha to the present, they hold this stream, this continuity of blessings, which enable us to recognize for ourselves enlightened awareness. And so even so, the Buddha is the ultimate refuge and the sole refuge. And the Buddha and the Lama and the true nature of our own mind are actually one and the same. So when we realize the true nature of our mind, we realize the indivisibility of these three. And so when we, for instance, just like the Buddha started off as an ordinary person, traversed or traveled on the path of awakening and fully awakened and became a fully perfected enlightened Buddha, we have the exact same potential. And the true nature of our mind is that enlightened awareness of the Buddha. It's just that we haven't fully actualized it yet, or realized or fully manifested the qualities that are there. So when that is understood, that the true essence of our own awareness, then at that point, that is when we realize that the only real refuge is the Buddha, and that the Buddha, our mind, and the Lama are one.
Oda din ta ding tel cham sha tin chang so choram ro ro ina ya da dire chwa ka shi yo na ku ne tigres.
So for today, we'll conclude here with the teachings. We can have a little bit of time for question and answer discussion, and we'll continue next week. So if there are any questions.
So if you have some questions, also we today topic or this the how to practice sadhana too. So
if you have questions based on what we went over last weekend with how to do the practice, please feel free to ask those as well.
There is a question online. Danny asked, who was the teacher or teachers of Buddha Shakyamuni?
Dene de Sanjay Shakyatubagi Lama Sure. Lama Shakyatubagi Lama Sure. So the Buddha had many lamas, many teachers. Ringbor Danglachu. So first he had two main spiritual teachers that he relied on. The names in Tibetan are Ringbor and Lachu.
And they taught
So they primarily taught him how to meditate, and he through their instruction, the Buddha arrived like through his meditation at the same level that they had arrived at, and then he surpassed that. So through these methods of meditation, he was able to develop all of the levels of meditative concentration that it kind of correspond with the desire realms, all the levels of meditative concentration that correspond with the form realms, all the levels of meditative concentration that correspond with the formless realms. So for instance, there are many different divisions and levels of meditative absorption within these, like the 17 different variety or different classifications of meditative absorption that kind of correspond with or that are connected with the form realms, and the 4 formless absorptions and so forth.
티인디다 티인디티네 개겐도 좋고 다 전환 덱도스다 다가 티네 티에나 라야 메스 태송도 티네 다 산지 줌된 데지 게 코네게 다 똑바된 콜베게 째다 째모 랩요래 얘네양 다동 코랑 딜리지 오늘 랑섬 어떤 줄이야지 딜 사가지 요지래 쌈드티네 다 로토 까바지 알아 소바친테네 산지 줌된 데 코랑 우스테네 다 산지 바레스
And so they, his teachers recognized his great accomplishment and were really, acknowledged that, and he practiced their instruction just as they had taught, and he, got sort of to the peak of cyclic existence in his meditative absorption, but he understood there must be something beyond that. This.
티차도 좋겠다. 저런다 상모도 잘했어. 다 보여 말했어. 나절라야 말했어.
So the teachers said to him, that's it. You've attained complete accomplishment. We don't have anything more to teach you. You've reached the level of complete awakening, which is what they believed. But the Buddha felt there must be something more than this. I'm not quite. I know there must be something else beyond this, and so he continued seeking, and through that he awakened, in his own. And so, for instance, he first underwent extreme hardship through thinking, that maybe the path was through that of austerity. So he practiced very severe austerities for 6 years. And then he sort of discovered that wasn't quite it either. And then after that was when he, in meditation, after he introduced food, he hadn't been eating, basically was practicing extreme asceticism, was eating very little. And then after eating a nourishing meal and then meditating beneath the Bodhi tree, then he fully awakened to complete enlightenment in Bodh Gaya.
Michelle has a question online. Michelle, can you unmute?
Hi. Yes, it said one of the verses or things on the pamphlet said that the Buddha has completely purified afflicted emotions and obscurations, mental obscurations. What does that really mean? I mean, I'll kind of answer it what I think, and then you can tell me how far away I am. I'm going to say, as when being in a physical body, in a human body, I don't think you can ever get rid of anger or jealousy or pride or all these poisons. I kind of think that a Buddha, they don't grasp onto it or push it away. What they do is that they feel it. It's kind of like an arrow. It goes through you. You feel it, but it doesn't stay stuck, and it goes right out. And so a Buddha feels it, understands it, processes it, and then releases it and not holds on. I don't know. So.
Ini yang sanje yana dini di penagayan senangaso mizu la yobe kala dini pache du nga la chune meba yang yong samare samgyo yini yang nuni sanje gopang token yana dini pache pena nyu momba sharwe kala dini di shargerawa yini yang zemba meba gi jimsen la dini pena da drapa nangshin di da yang zubola lepa yini yang
Did pretty good with your hair. Oh, sorry.
이내야 다 데레다 전화 라번나 이리스. 게트랑 당기 콘티가 나 이리 지 출와 강야매와 동해 강야매와 텐데 말이 상제 권한 상제 해쇼베가라 상제 머와. 이내 전화 라번나 이리 델라 카르스나 상제 기 샘게 땡라 베나 송도와 초제라 마사지 치고나래 초제라 되네 베다 컷 치고나 티니볼라 예와 요 말레스
Right, yes, the Buddha does not, as long as somebody who is enlightened and still embodied in human form, there's still feeling, there's still sensation, there's still, the suffering, but it is like there's no fixation. So, for instance, the Buddha, it is said that if somebody is massaging him on one side and somebody is like cutting his flesh on the other side, that there's no distinction between those two for him. Like one doesn't cause him to become angry, and the other, he doesn't have attachment towards one and aversion towards the other.
Same que top ji de nga so ji ordinary na zo ndo tinde yo sa ma des nga so di la
But the
nga so zimba
experience-
khasi chebi na tisi ki nga so la dungye yong yo re song do wa nga so nyama jin zimba me wi na tene ji ngone thane ji ko thezam je ke ji na zo pa na ma so yo na re la ba je yo na re ko thezam je na zo yo sa ma res
Karela?
pena mayona da khandi yona nga ordinary na yike nazo yosamares.
However, the experience of a Buddha is really like the mind of an enlightened being is impossible to comprehend. It's really not at all like ordinary experience because there's no fixation. So, however much we suffer, our suffering is in direct proportion to our grasping and direct proportion to our fixation. And so if, for instance, the Buddha is getting his arm cut off, or like the experience of a wound or what we would experience as painful sensation is a completely different experience for a Buddha.
Tega na yinga to naroba ke tene ti koran kamba chagi yore yina yang ko je teloba ke chinjilabdu ko lamsa tha ro yorwa.
So like, for instance, when Naropa broke all the bones in his body, and then like Tilopa, through waving his hand over Tilopa's body, all his bones kind of reconnected and he came back to perfect health. So it's like, and so it's not like us, like it's not ordinary wounds or like we can easily sort of recover. It's like there's no, it's very fluid, yeah.
Yeah, also this mind is powerful too, so depends we have something injury or something too much worry, the much worse the whatever you broken hand or injury. So, but if your mind is just you accept, not worry, less the worry, then I think much quicker recovery. So, okay.
I'm very sorry. I'm going to have to excuse myself because I have another translation job online, like just in like 10 minutes. So I'm going to excuse myself, and Drupon Rinpoche will continue.
Okay.
Thank you. So, just following up on the same line, I assume the short answer would be a Buddha doesn't feel, regular human sensations because he's no longer a regular human, right? He is an awakened mind. And also in the same, it says, attain inconceivable qualities, including the 5 eyes, the 6 extrasensory perceptions, the 10 understandings, the 10 powers, the 4 kinds of fearlessness, the 4 perfect knowledges, the 18 unshared attributes, and each one of them is marked with a number in the printout. So can you talk a little bit more about this, or where we can read more about what this means?
I think this the bottom of the list, I think. Page 5.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
But still, I think this lot of, we can do explanation, but I think less there. So.
Okay, Michael has a question. On the fivefold path of Mahamudra, how important are the states of concentration and absorption?
What's the concentration?
On the fivefold path of Mahamudra, how important are the states of concentration and absorption?
Drupon Law, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, so what is last part? What means? How important was that?
How important are the states of concentration and absorption?
Right. I think what means concentration? Like meditation or focus?
Yeah. Concentration on tonangchi bachigyola. Concentrate chesulan.
Right, so I think
okay,
so this I think mostly concentration, generation stage is concentration, right? The mainly is I think you're talking about the 5, right? So bodhicitta, yidam deity, Guru Yoga, and Mahamudra. So Mahamudra, there's a lot of concentration, right? So this like shamatha stages, different. So, or you said this how important, or I'm not sure what. Huh? How important is it? It is important, yes. Yes. Very, very important.
As you've gone deeper into the concept of refuge, it seems to me you've vastly enlarged the common concept of taking a name, becoming a Buddhist, taking vows. You've so vastly enlarged it that it comes to my mind that you could use different words, because it seems to me it's such a large concept now, as you presented it, that every day you wake up, every moment you consider yourself a Buddhist, you're going for refuge. I mean, literally like the Buddha himself, as you step from one foot to the other, that's going for refuge. Is that how you intend this to be understood?
Okay. All right, so this yes, I think maybe I can telling the one story. So maybe that. So during the Cultural Revolution, right? So that time is. Of course, there's no Dharma, not allowed to practice any kind of practice, recitation, mantra, or you cannot see anything image. And always like local leaders, officials, looking, there's something doing things, their practice or not, maybe they hide some mala or not, or, even though they look at, like moving something mouth, something. Then they say, well, what are you doing? You're saying something mental, So big trouble. Very not allowed to at all. If you say something, mental, or say something refuge, or they have to go jail, they're beating them. So they're kind of like dangerous situation. So, so one day, so my home, the official, the leaders come to my house. So then, so my mom make the tea, and then offer to these local leaders, but he tried to take out the top shelf and then take the cup, but the cup that fell down, So then my mom said, I pray to Buddha Dharma, the officials, leaders there, but he able to catch the cup. He didn't broken. So I think that no matter these conditions, situations, even though not allowed to, but in the mind, it's never forget the Buddha Dharma. Something happens, or dangerous. Or even though we're talking about, release, even though we die, moment you remember the Buddha, that moment. So that moment, the situation is difficult situation, right? So, but if you remember, so then you're okay. So I think your question exactly, but I think there are a lot of stories too, so but something happens, something difficulties. So that time is you remember, so. But in order to remember that, so we can practice, all the time. Otherwise, we not remember, So, but like I said, my mom is kind of like. He never say he just okay, So just because he afraid, but moment just maybe cup is failed, no embrace it, So that's just he tried to catch, and he said, I pray to 3 jewels. So. No more questions? Comments?
How long have you been practicing?
So the people on Zoom can hear you.
How long have you been practicing?
I think there is okay, first, so I was born in Tibet, right? So Tibetan country used to, I think like 99 and then 99% is Buddhism. But however, I was born, I think not I born, I think after, well, maybe I have, I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. That time is, they destroyed the Dharma. No Dharma at all. So, and then, even though I grew up, like I 50 years old, or 15 or 60, 40, so that time is no Dharma at all. But
outside, no dharma, no public, no teaching, no practicing. But in the Tibetan people, they know, then slowly my parents, how to practice, they teach me the own money, mentor. So then public grow up in the Buddhism. And then the civic, so also this many ways, practice means, so we have studies first. So studies, sort of college, here. So I 9 years, I study. And then this Buddhism is the two kind of together combination. We call study and practice. So the study, first have to finish the study, and the second we call practice. So of course the practice, every day we go practice in the monasteries, but specific practice is we call Three Attitude. So I did maybe 2 months, 3 months here, there. But then I practice continuation 3 years, 5 months, one place. So India, Almora. So that's we so-called 3-year or retreat or 3-year practice. So that time is just myself, Yes, we can. Yeah, you cannot see other people's at all, and also cannot talk. Yeah, of course, cannot talk. No communications. So that's I can say this is practice. So. Yeah.
Drupon, real quick.
So that's we call karmic input. Then familiar. Sometimes the afflictive emotions too powerful, so we cannot control, cannot stop, difficult. But then I think the familiar, like at least 3 years continuation, the practice, then you really kind of bring or whatever mind, and then kind of familiarization, you're familiar. So. Mm-hmm.
I just would like to add in regards to Stephen comment before and question, that's why we are encouraged to take refuge every morning, because that's one of the preliminaries, so when we take refuge every day, that sets the tone to our day. That reminds us of the blessings of the lineage of the Buddha and his achievements, and how the blessings come through the Lama. And that's why we have to do it every day, so we remember. And when we face the challenges every day, because we're gonna have people that we don't like, the boss is gonna be annoying, the daughter's gonna make you crazy, the dog is gonna pee everywhere. So if we at least take refuge every morning, it's gonna help us to remember the path and help us, hopefully during the day, catch ourselves when we're about to do something bad and refrain us from doing more bad karma, and help us to get our mind in a better direction. So I think it was important, the question that Stephen asked, and say, yes, we have to take refuge with every step in our life because we're ignorant. And that reminds us our path.
That's right. So yeah, that's really good. So this kind of I said this morning, so we are really challenging situations. Maybe, I don't know, maybe long time ago, who knows, but I think really important is that remember this morning you wake up. So kind of preparation, of course your preparation means make coffee only, but your preparation, Likabet, what you do today, and the Likabet generated love, compassion, so not really long, but something prepared. The daytime is good, So always said this, you don't like animals. Said you just animals wake up, fly, right? I don't know, probably their preparations too, who knows? But, so not like we as the human beings, okay? Actually, they said the evening is very important. So morning sort of prepare, okay? Today is better person, I prepare, so maybe, yeah, of course you said challenges, every day, every moment, but not the power by these difficulties, problems, situations. So I just stable, you can build up strength. And then evening, the difficult, but so what I did today, so you look at back to that a day, and then you something mistakes, negative, you said, okay, we have purifying, like mentors or so on. And then also, maybe today I did good job, I did a really good job. You appreciate, so like rejoicing. That's kind of relaxed body can lose out. But sometimes we don't know, I said, because we don't have the mindfulness, so maybe mistakes, we don't know how much mistakes. Or sometimes we really good job, positives, but may forget, So sort of like every day, every night, so this, and then it's also like kind of the good sleeping,
Drakun Kayu Buddhist Center of Tucson asks, how many times a day should one recite the refuge sadhana in order to complete one retreat day?
One retreat day, right? How many sadhanas?
Mm-hmm. How many times should you recite the sadhana?
Right. So this is this is we program, right? So program and retreat. The retreat means the 4 sessions. So 4 sessions, basically retreat means 4 days. So we are in the 3-year retreat. So we wake up 4 o'clock and ends 9:30. Then divide 4 hours, So what is you do? So maybe each 4 hours, but this may be too long. So at least like 9 to maybe 8 or 6. Minimum, I think 9 to 6. So that's practice 4 days. There, how much you during the practice, how much hundreds, whatever, doesn't matter. Your counting doesn't matter, but your time is basically have to hold the practice during retreat. Mm-hmm. Okay, no question? And also this, I think, we, or faith, or devotion, or like I said, that remember the Buddha. So that's kind of reasonable, so faith and devotion. So how much value, Buddha's teach to us. So actually Buddha's completely show, liberated completely, So this is very kind. So that's why we fed to Buddha. That's why we devotion to the Buddha, So like, I think you, Dharma, probably familiar, how much the Tibetans went to the India, how much difficulties, hardships. So those people, they know how Dharma is precious, how important themselves. So, and also as well as, I think we call this is like kind of golden teachings, so this, so like many teachings, like Secret Mantra, many teachings is, you offer gold and get teach, right? So that's actually we have to understand is, so teacher not really attached to the gold. But they show how valuable. Gold is, long time ago maybe expensive, this time it's expensive, right? More well. So that's why show. And then the interesting thing is, particular Naroba, so the Marba's teacher, he not teaching, if not offered with gold, he never teaching. So someone offering the gold, they can teach Dharma. So first thinking, oh, maybe he's really attached to gold, But then, and the Naroba teaching Marba, so Marba said, now I complete teaching, I finish, okay. You 100% you receive the teachings. So you don't need no more request me to teach, or I cannot teach. I completely, so I teached. No more teaching. So then that moment, he threw the gold in the jungle. So he showed no attachment to gold. But before, every single time, where's something the Marba requests, oh, please teach me these texts, this sadhana. So where is gold? And then give the gold, he can teach, So that's why Marba want to teach 4 times back to Tibet. He collect the gold and come back. Otherwise, he cannot. Traveling these days, this India to Tibet, not big deal, aeroplane, maybe 2 hours. But that time is like 4 months. Each time very dangerous, Himalayan river, like a mountain, snow mountain, cold, jungle, tiger, lion, river. So that's kind of how precious, So if we practice. If not practice, doesn't matter. So that's why faith, devotion, it means, so to the Buddha. Okay, so no questions, please. Dedication.
Okay, turn to page 24 in your prayer book. By the virtues collected in the 3 times by myself and all beings in samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drikungpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara. And then to page 19. Bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind, where it is unborn, may it arise. Where it is born, may it not decline, but ever increase higher and higher. Changchu Semcho Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ke Gyurji Ke Panyam Pa Me Paryam Gong Ne Gong Du Pelajog Chang Chu Sem Jo Rinpoche Ma Ke Panam Ge Gyurji Ke Panyam Pa Me Paryam Gong Ne Gong Du Pelvajo.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.